fast one. You're giving me attention. I think they're making me lose, and I really need those, and I beat that one by one.
Welcome to another episode of the Pepper Soup Talk Show, where we bring the shakers and movers in the diaspora. Today, we are very, very excited to have Kalina Harrison, who is actually the CEO of Creative Scripts, which is a content and copywriting boutique agency that helps businesses scale with custom brand messaging. And she's from Atlanta, and Kalina now lives in Philadelphia. In addition to just helping people how to really like create a business plan, Kalina is also a writer. She have written a book, correct, in which she will sort of talk to us about shortly. And the other great thing that she does, she actually created this program called Write Your Way to the Bank, which is a youth entrepreneur conference that teaches Philadelphia teen how to write a business plan, like launch their own business. And we are so excited to hear more about this. With no further ado, Kalina, welcome to the Pepper Soup Talk Show.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
I hope I did justice with that intro.
We're creative scribes.
That's it. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's why we're here. So creative scribes.
Yes, creative scribes.
All right, Kalina, thank you so much again for coming to the talk show. We're very, very excited to have you. So to just start us off, like tell us a little bit about who you are and like where you're from and where you grew up.
I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I've been living in Philly for now 6 years and I absolutely love it. I'm from the west side of Atlanta, so think about T.I., think about Martin Luther King, think about all the most things you hear on the radio. Think about that, just Southern soul, most things you hear on the radio, right?
Hip-hop?
Hip-hop, R&B, SWB,
Okay.
but not SWB, Escape.
So what? So west side of Atlanta, like what is? Do you just call the west side of Atlanta, or is it a particular?
So you know how in New York, or even in Philly, how you have Southwest, West Philly, Germantown, or Northwest, North, and everything like that. In Atlanta, we have East Atlanta, North Atlanta, South Atlanta, and West Atlanta. But the west side is the best side. So I'm just very fortunate to have grown up in Atlanta, Georgia, and I participated in a lot of different programs in the community. I mean, Atlanta was just the hustling, bustling community New York of the South.
Yes.
And so I absolutely loved it. And I participated in a program called Junior Achievement. And Junior Achievement is very similar to my program called Write Your Way to the Bank, in that we learn how to start a business, run a business, have stock, actually liquidate the company, things like that. But there was always white people spearheading everything. And you see, I'm tiny, right? I was even tinier in high school. And one day we were selling bracelets and I had some out of the bracelet. We were selling it, right? And the bracelet had fallen off of my wrist. And so one of the mentors thought that I don't know if I stole it or I was being irresponsible. And I was like, absolutely not. The bracelet was too big, so it had fallen off. But that also alerted me, and that planted a seed in me to say, you know what? When I become an adult, I'm going to start an entrepreneurship program for teens who look just like me and do the same thing that Junior Achievement is doing. So that's how Write Your Way to the Bank came about. But the overall umbrella is Creative Scribes. And Creative Scribes is a content and copywriting boutique agency. We write books. This is my book, but we also ghostwrite other books. And that's really exciting.
So you have a creative agency and you ghostwrite books. You write books and ghostwrite books.
Yes.
So I often hear about, I'm sure the audience too, we often hear about ghostwriting, or artists ghostwriting, or songwriters ghostwriting for artists.
Yes.
I never heard of ghostwriters ghostwriting books.
Oh, absolutely. The majority of celebrities, they don't write a word. They don't write a word. They'll have somebody like me, a scribe, to come in and say, what is your vision?
Yeah.
And my goal, say both of you wanted to write a book. You would give me your ideas, you would give me your thoughts, your overall vision. And my goal is to create a stellar manuscript, a page turner for you.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful that my clients have allowed me to help them to do that.
Wow.
So just talk us a little bit about, like, you know, what it feels like to kind of be like this person behind the scene, right? And what does that feel like? And then what does it also feel like when you see that you have actually helped your client and achieve, convey their story or message?
Manifestation.
I'm sorry. Can you just move your water further back a little more? It's out of the it's out of this.
No, we're gonna edit that point.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. So we make sure people live get to see what's going on. Yeah. So back to my question is, like, you know, talk a little bit about, like, what does it feel like to be like the person behind, like, you know, kind of the stage, right? I look at this as an actor, right? You kind of like the one behind the stage, and then what does it feel like after you see your sort of client really able to achieve that vision through your support?
A lot of gratitude. A lot of gratitude. I have always wanted to be a full-time entrepreneur. I majored in mass communications at the Claflin University in Orangeburg, South Carolina. So HBCU, stand up. But I always wanted to have my own business. And one thing it was always plain to me is to be called a visionary. So as a visionary, my vision is to help you manifest your vision. That is manifesting my vision. For years, I said, I am going to be a full-time entrepreneur who helps other people reach their goals through my writing. That's the goal. You reach your goals through my writing. I write affirmations for my clients. When I work on a project, I'll say, this client is going to profit 100 times over. And it's so important because if you're not winning, I'm not winning.
Yeah.
So it's the ecosystem.
How did you get into writing? I know you say you majored in communications.
Yes.
Have you always considered yourself a writer? Did you at some point along the line say that I'm going to be a writer? Or how did you come into yourself as a writer?
Absolutely. Writing has been the most innate gift that God has given me. I mean, the multi-creator, everybody has a gift, right?
Yeah.
And so most times we recognize our gifts through other people, or somebody say, oh, you did a great job at that, so you should continue to do that. I'll write poetry as early as maybe 10. And I think the earliest achievement, not quotation, it's an achievement. When I was in 5th grade, I decided I was too afraid of 6th grade, so I wanted to stop doing work. So I stopped doing work in 5th grade. And then we had a big conference, my teachers, my mom, and they were like, you have 2 weeks to complete this work or you will not go to the 6th grade. And at this time, my mom was like, you have to go to 6th grade, like do the work. So anyway, I do all this work in crunch time, and I ended up winning the highest writing score on a standardized test in the 5th grade.
Wow.
So when that happened, I was like, whoa, okay, I really have a gift here. And then I wrote poetry, I would write stories, and my classmates would say, oh, here, Kalina, you're such a great writer. Here's a journal for you. Here's a book for you to read. Majored in mass communications, digital media. I did digital media. So I worked in independent filmmaking. I worked in news stations. I think the biggest station I worked at is the Weather Channel headquarters in Marietta, Georgia. Also worked at some PBS affiliates in South Carolina and also in Atlanta. And then I fell out of love with the production side of it. And I'm the kind of person where I really believe if I do not love it, I'm not going to do it. I'm that stubborn. If I don't love it, I'm not doing it. Whatever I do, I'm going to do with excellence.
Right.
That's period. But if I don't love it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And so I said, you know what? Writing is easy for me. Writing is therapeutic for me. And it's a low overhead. My expenses are my Wi-Fi and my computer. Automations, some other expenses here and there, but it's a low overhead.
Wow. So now when it comes to the clients that you work with, because you said that you ghostwrite books, you guys also write your own books, but I know you also have other kinds of clients, because when we did our research, I noticed that you're also a copywriter. And so the clients that you typically work with, how would you say it's divided up? Like what are the majority of your clients, and what are the different kinds of like writing tasks that you do?
Again, gratitude. Maybe I should write a book about gratitude. I know we're going to get into the book. I can't wait to get into the book, but I'm so grateful. So the clients I serve are mostly tech clients, right? Because they have that technical, that technical jargon, and they really need some creativity. A tech company's ideal client may not know tech. Yeah. Right. I barely know how to operate my iPhone, but it's so simple, right? So that's where I come into play. We work with neonatal advocacy, Black neonatal advocacy. Right now, Black women, women of color, but especially Black women in America, we have a lot of this maltreatment in the neonatal care and the perinatal care and the healthcare equity field. So I also help with that. I also write white papers, right? So I'm writing a school to prison pipeline paper right now. Yeah. I'm very grateful. And this is another manifestation. In 2014, I was working 3 jobs, y'all. Y'all gonna hear a lot of y'all. That's what we said. So, y'all gonna hear a lot of y'all. So I was working at the Weather Channel. I was working at an after-school program teaching video production to 3rd graders. And I was also working as a freelance photographer for an independent digital media company, right? 3 jobs, y'all. It's crazy. And I had said to my best friend,
yeah, like multiple W's.
To the bang.
I don't know how you were doing in Texas, but right. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're right though. What I'm here to get let go. But see, this taught me to hire myself, because while doing those 3 jobs, I said I'm not fully helping as much people as I can because I'm dividing my time. But I wrote in 2014, I will create a curriculum for students about creative writing, and I will teach that curriculum, and the whole thing will be mine. Do you know, in 2019, right before the pandemic, one of my great friends, her husband works at a school here in Philadelphia, and she's like, they need an after-school program instructor, creative writer instructor. I had my curriculum ready. I sent them the curriculum. They approved it, and there I am teaching my own creative writing class, where we were able to, again with the diaspora, have Philadelphia youth have a virtual exchange program with Zimbabwe youth, right? The Shona tribe. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful immersion. So though education, tech, medical, I would say beauty industries sometimes, and different genres.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when it comes to writers and just communicators in general, it's sometimes easy to understate how important being able to communicate your ideas, being able to convey stories and in a way that people can really receive. And that's why, Kalina, I feel what you do is so vital to whatever it is anyone is working on, right? When it comes to business and building out an idea, because I feel like everything comes back to the story and narrative, and that's what people buy into.
Sure.
Right. And it's like there's a power to like story, right? And it's just so interesting to us. It's like you have client that comes sort of to you, and some of their narrative and story that they share with you, and some of these things could be personal. And do you feel like sometimes it's like a huge burden on you to kind of have to deliver on that? Or like, talk to us about this process, or have there also been a moment where you kind of felt like to help really deliver what that person's story embodied? Because sometimes it goes beyond writing, right? Do you feel this weight on you sometimes, especially being a woman of color who is a writer in that sort of context?
So in another part of my life, I will become a doula. Like, I will actually help women to be comfortable and feel empowered with the birthing experience. But now I'm a doula for my clients in whatever story they have, because it's their baby. sure that baby is not preemie. I gotta nurture that baby. I have to make sure the parent feels comfortable with me, So I am that doula for the person or the client who's working with me. The process is very thorough. And also, I'm a very firm person. And although I am an empath and I feel, and I'm a human being, like I feel emotions, there's only been one time where I had to tell a client, we have to slow down because this story is very intense. It was so emotional. And I was like, okay, we have to pause because I can only take but so much. But what I do is I do my homework. I ask the client, what do you want your target audience to take away from your story? Once I know what they want, then I know how to shape and frame the process to get the best possible story out. Has there ever been a time where I said, what was the question? Where I didn't feel like I delivered on the story?
Right. And then sometimes do you get this sense like that was a perfect example when people share their story with you, do you feel this weight on you?
So sometimes I feel the weight, but what I do is I have to remember that they came to me seeking help. Okay. And I have to I don't want to take my emotions out of it, but it's kind of like real estate. You have to take emotions out of it, And it's like, okay, this is the end goal. And then I have to become responsible and say, and do my own self-talk. Before I get on a call with a client, I'm like, all right, sometimes I know what they're going to come to me with. Sometimes I don't. But I say, you know what, Kalina, equip yourself, have your points of context. What are you going to walk away from the call? Like, I have to say, what am I going to walk away from this call? And then I ask my client, were your goals met? And most times I don't have to ask them because I know during the vetting process, I guess I can say. But most times I feel we get the job done.
Mm-hmm. So you help people give birth to their visions.
Yes.
Through
writing.
Yes.
And so now I see your book here, Written Visions.
She has a book.
Yeah.
A self-guided journal to affirming your best life possible.
What?
I like that.
What a title.
I like that.
That's the title. Talk to us a little bit about the title before we dive into the book.
Had a backhead box on that.
That's
I'm having fun with y'all. I'm really having fun with y'all.
Yeah.
Okay. So written visions come into fruition. Man. Write the vision, make it plain. That's in the book, in the Bible. I read the Bible. I'm a Christian, and I say, you know what, God, what do you want me to do? I'm here. I'm a vehicle. I'm a vessel.
Yeah,
that's it. We have the Most High Creator, and then we are sub creators. Okay. And so I say, God, what do you want me to do? And I went through this point in my life in 2017. It was March 6th, 2017. And I had a forced resignation at this job I was at. And the supervisor said, Kalina, I'm paying you the most on payroll. And I was subbing at a network of schools. And this one school I had gone through was acute behavioral. And the student had thrown a ruler in my direction that almost hit my eye. Mm-hmm. Now, this is how I believe in entrepreneurship. You do have to bow down to your client, not bow down, but your clients are your bosses. So I'm not one of those people, I don't need a boss, but I also told my supervisor, I'm not going back to this school. Yeah. So he's like, you can't tell me I never had a job where I told my boss where I was going, I'm paying you the most because I negotiated my rate, sisters negotiate. And he said,
well, get what you're worth, right?
Know your values, know your work.
And implement it. And so he was going on, and then he said, I hope you don't try to apply for unemployment because you won't get it. I said, ooh.
Well, he forgot that you're from Atlanta.
Ooh, I did apply. And look, he forgot. I did apply, and I did not get it. Right. So he was true to his word.
Right.
But the point of that March 6th day was, I said, you know what? It's time now. It's time for me to step out on faith, trust the Creator for what I've been affirming and praying for. And I believe faith without works is dead. I've always had faith that I can become a full-time entrepreneur. And I said, you know what? Now it's time to put that faith to test. And so on March 8th, 2017, I bought an LLC. Also, I think maybe March 9th, I was in a Facebook group. and I was speaking with another young lady, Black young lady, shout out to Kim, who designed my book. I saw her mock-ups, and it looked like I could not afford it. And I was like, Kim, I only have $10, but I'm committed to getting my book done. I'm not sure how much you're going to charge me, but I want you to do my book. So she took my $10, and that was my commitment to myself. So I just had to tell that story because this book was never be afraid. Never be afraid to tell people what you have.
Yeah.
You know, don't think, oh, I can't afford it, because her work was good. I mean, you see how good the book is. It's marble, it's gold, it's turquoise. You know, it's great. But I said, she's going to take this. And she told me to quote, and I said, I can pay you this every month. And I paid it. So Written Visions Coming to Fruition. It is my book of failures from a period of 2013 when I graduated college to about 2017. Yeah. And it's A to Z affirmations, and it's a journal style book. So we'll have here imagination. Y'all see the marble, I can't see here, but marble interface here. And so we have what imagination means, the actual definition, what's the definition. And then I write what imagination means to me. And then I ask the reader to journal about what imagination means to them. And then I also share the failure, quote unquote, and how I learned from that failure and how I leveled up from that failure. I always say, you know, my failure set me ablaze.
So it's like, it's not just like a self-guide, but it's also very engaging, right?
Absolutely.
So it's, talk a little bit about that. Why is that important for you to write in a way where you can find a way to like engage the reader?
Journaling is my oxygen. Like I need water, you know, hydrogen 2 parts oxygen, but then you have that journal, you know, so that is my oxygen. And I also want the reader to think about their failure. We all have them. And then how they can level up from that. Right. What lesson did they learn? And how are they going to take that lesson to the next level? Because they're destined for greatness, period.
Absolutely.
This is like
he's just trying to steal your book.
This is like
he's looking through it.
It's like a devotional, like an applied devotion.
Oh my!
Actually, you want to expand on that? That was deep.
I'm just looking at what I'm reading.
Okay.
A metamorphosis is happening right now.
Okay.
Let me tell you why. So the podcast is the first to know. For me, I've never said this publicly. My friends know I've never said it publicly. So it's publicly here. I am writing a devotional.
Wow.
I'm actually writing a devotional, and I've been supposed to write it forever. I was supposed to write this devotional a long time ago. Never did it. I'm like, you know, the devotional, the next book is going to be a devotional specifically for Black women entrepreneurs, or Black women in general. You have to be an entrepreneur. And I'm going to reference biblical principles to help. Really, to me, the Bible is a book of lessons, and it's a business book. And it can be whatever you want it to be. But for me, it's been a business book. And I want people to know you can reference this. You know, who was the ant in the Bible? Who was the virtuous woman? Faith without works.
Yeah.
So that's the devotional coming up.
I love that.
Can't wait for it to come out.
And when did this book come out?
This book came out in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, when I put that $10 deposit. Just make a commitment to yourself.
Right.
That's the goal. Me making a commitment to myself.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
So we want to talk a little bit about this program that you have in Philadelphia, where you actually focus on the youths, the young people. And then it's like you teaching young people how to write a business plan.
Absolutely.
And when I sort of like read that, I'm sitting here, I'm like, wow, if someone has taught me how to write a business plan when I was elementary, when I was just at a young age, right? Where will I be right now? How would that impact my life?
Absolutely.
Talk to us about the sort of why is this program so important to you, and how has like the young people that you work with, how has it sort of impacted them?
So going back to the story with junior achievement, when and my mentors were awesome. Don't get me wrong. Like I had the cream de la creme of junior achievement mentors. Okay. But they didn't look like me, and that was very important, and in 2000, I'm like, man, like I see you doing it, but I don't see me doing it for real, right? I saw me doing it, but I don't physically see it. So I saw it inside and I said, I'm going to birth this at one point. So that was my promise to myself. I thought I was going to do it in Atlanta because I'm so diehard Atlanta. I love Atlanta so much. I never saw myself moving. I only moved to Philly because I wanted to move to New York because I was still working in TV production at the time. But God had other plans and I stayed in Philly and I said, I love Philly, so I stayed here. That's basically how it happened. In 2019, in April 2019, before April, I said, okay, I have to launch this writing program for the youth. I had not yet had the contract for the after school program. So I said, it's all on me. I need to go scout these children, recreation centers, youth organizations, other schools. I need to be able to help children learn how to write a business plan. Easy, super formula, super easy. They're going to write their business plan and they're going to also pitch their business because they need to know that this is serious, right? That was like March, April 2019. Again, going on a limb, making a commitment to myself. I paid $400 for a space. Mind you, I'm really just getting my cash flow together and doing business full time because I decided I don't want to do another job, right? So this sister charges me $400 and maybe a little bit more, but I commit to that. I told her, look, this is what I have it, we're doing it. So I rent the space and that's my own money. Now I'm tasked to go find the children. So I put it on Facebook, I get a flyer made and everything is working out great. And so I start going into different stores, asking for sponsorships, just walking in like this. Actually walked into, I'm not going to say the store because it was kind of like their manager did it, but I walked into a really big box store and I said, hey, I need like 70 of these printed out, these business plans printed out, and they printed it out all for free in color. Okay. And I just got so much help. The community started helping out. I called City View Pizza. I can shout out City View Pizza.
Shout out to City View Pizza. I think they may have the best pizza in the city, to be honest. They may have
it's incredible though.
And I just called. They had not met me. I walked in the supermarket and then I said, hey, I'm doing this opportunity, this program for the youth. I had a small ad in the Sun newspaper. The Philadelphia Sun had a small ad there, took the ad there, showed the supermarket. They gave us water, snacks. I had some friends who invested. I mean, we had a great turnout, right? We had about that first time, we had maybe 20 kids, right? And they all got seed money because my friends, at first only 3 were supposed to get seed money. But my friend said, no, we're going to donate. And so it had become a fund. I can't think of the word right now.
Yeah.
And so we've been doing Write Your Way to the Bank. We've hosted it.
Like an investment fund.
Right. We've hosted it 3 times now in person, but when the pandemic occurred, we took it virtual. And then I'm so grateful because thanks to social media, people reached out to me for me to come to their organizations and their schools. And now I have a summer contract with an organization, Youth Angel Scholars. Shout out to Kelly. Kelly Everett of Youth Angel Scholars. I go in there and I help to prepare the young ladies and the young men there. And so I'm really excited. And actually, I have to update the business plan. This is 2019. So now a Write Your Way to the Bank 2.0 is coming.
It's time.
It's summer 2023.
It's powerful. Like I'm just listening to just the way you just going about this, but this is like usually like you don't think about like business or writing a business plan until like you get to this adulting phase or like, and we think like it's sort of like only for like going to business school. But for you to really like have this like initiative and to see how people were so receptive to it. But it's also like focus a lot on the folks of color, like black and brown kids.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about. Let's dive deep into that. Like for some of the kids that you work with, right? Was there any particular business plan from a student or that resonated with you that was like surprise you, that kind of inspire you further to continue to like go on with this program?
I feel like a mother. I have to say all. Because one person going to say, "Oh my God, Miss Kalina," all of them are so dynamic.
You like them all differently.
I'm trying to put myself in the kids' world, right?
Yeah.
Like, but kids have to create a business plan, right? Like, we be in the space where we got to create a business from our podcast.
Yes.
And because, we have to, because that's what you need in order for people to be invested and put their money into your idea.
Yes.
But in the kids' shoes, like, what would the kids want to write a business plan about?
We first tap into the question that you asked me before, what got me into writing? They're still so malleable and they're still so fun. And I want to keep it fun.
Yes.
So, and y'all know I'm a little silly. So we're always laughing and things like that. Really, it's whatever they're interested in doing. I always tell them, don't try to research what your business should be. Research you. Sit down and who are you? You don't know who you are? Great. That's perfect. You're in the right place because now you're going to figure out. And so we've had business plans from one young lady. She creates Rubik's Cube art. It's called Rare Art. And she literally makes designs from a Rubik's Cube. And this queen is so dope. She can solve a Rubik's Cube in like 90 seconds.
Wow. Have you tried to solve a Rubik's Cube? Have you tried yourself?
I definitely have.
I wouldn't even try it.
I do it and I enjoy not solving it because it just gives me something to just keep trying to figure out.
Right.
But we've had that. We've had a beautiful young lady. She creates jewelry. Right, I don't have any. I should have worked pieces on a day. We have bakers. We have students. We have young men who want to create athletic wear. We have young men and women who do photography, sneaker store, online sneaker commerce, so they can repurpose their clothes, right? And so we just have the gamut. But that's what I always tell them. Whatever is in you, whatever you like to do right now, even if it's video gaming, okay, you can have a business where you teach people how to video game. Therapy through video gaming. Yeah. So
I think it's also must be dope working with kids because I feel like at that young age, number one, you have a big imagination, and you're also in a place where society hasn't yet prevented you from like dreaming big.
Right.
And because as a kid, granted, these are maybe 12, 13, but even as a kid, you believe you can fly.
Right. Your world is about to
going to space.
Right.
And so it must be interesting seeing some of those ideas.
Yes.
And how expansive they are, or just like the minds of these kids undeterred by the world.
Right. But it's also like, what's so powerful about this is like, for any kids to go through a program like this, like how would that impact their future? Like where could they possibly be when they're like 25? Where could they possibly be when they're 30, right? And they have an idea, they have like a business plan, and they have this sort of like skill set, or someone has also believed in them that, like, my kid, and somebody talking to me about a business plan, you know what I mean? Business plan,
many goals. One of the most tangible goals is to decrease the unemployment line. If you can stand in line for the unemployment line, you can go figure out how to legally and easily doing something that you love, make money and support yourself. And how to scale that. So we're cutting the unemployment line. Also, we're empowering them. We know adulting is not easy, but the reason it's not easy, or not the reason why, but one thing that makes it hard is that a lot of us aren't as prepared as we should have been by no fault of anyone else. We'll just, put that disclaimer out, because sometimes our parents or teachers or our village, they were not equipped.
Yep.
So how can they equip us? So we're not blaming anybody, but for me, I was charged with to do this task, and so I'm like, all right, that is how I'm going. This time I'm going to fuel my charge by charging other people, right? And so once I get that self-esteem,
Yeah.
once we build that,
Yeah.
nobody can take that self-esteem
Right.
away.
It's almost like now it's just like you have unleashed this power within them,
Yes.
and who knows how far it's gonna take them, right? Go ahead, Keith.
Something I'm noticing through our conversation is your passion
Yes.
and your
Within
how much you believe in entrepreneurship
yes.
as a way to free yourself.
Mhm.
Right? Like, you know, you speak about kids and you speak about decreasing unemployment lines.
Mhm.
You've spoken about wanting to be a full-time entrepreneur for many years.
Yeah.
And can you talk a little bit about the power of entrepreneurship and how that can be really an engine for liberation?
Absolutely. It's a responsibility. I remember first starting full time because I always had like hustles, right? I've always been a hustler legally and everything. And one story I do want to share, I was doing spoken word poetry for years in high school. Even Congressman John Lewis, I read for him when I was like 11, 12 years old, I believe, right? And so I'm like, I think I should be a writer, a speaker, a spoken word artist, something of that effect, right? 14 years old, I go into a flea market and I see a purse I want, and I ask my mom, can we buy the purse? And she's like, oh, I don't have any cash right now. This is 2003 or 4, so we don't have like the sliding, ATMs and everything. So I talked to, not my mom, I talked to this salesman. I said, hey, I really love this purse. Also, I'm a poet, can I read my poem to you? I'm 14 years old. So he's like, okay, read the poem. So I read my poem with so much passion, right? And I had it printed out. He said, you know what? I want you to sign this because you're going to be famous one day. And he was like, I'll give you, if you give me this poem, I'll give you this purse. And I was like, okay, whatever. I think the poem was called like One Nation. I think we were hoping to bring the truth home or something like that. But entrepreneur, and the reason I bring that up is because that taught me that I can monetize my mind at any time. And also, I'm endowed with the gift of gab. Sometimes it's gotten me places I didn't need to be. So I had to learn how to control it.
If I was just pausing for a second, because that was really dope. And sometimes I do want to make sure like we pause. So to highlight the gem that you just dropped, like, could you just say you can't monetize your mind? That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful, right? Because most of us we don't think like that. We question ourselves most of the time. We are talented, we are gifted, and we know that. But we question it. But then we don't think about like how you could monetize your mind. And I just love that you say that because I just want to highlight that.
Thank you.
That's very powerful, and it's powerful in a way that because that's what like these millionaires, billionaires, like Jeff Bezos, like they're out here. You would think like, man, how would somebody build $1 million company? Right? You know what I mean? But it's at the end of the day, these are simple ideas and vision that these people truly believe in. They believe they could monetize their mind, but they believe that anything they set their mind on, they could monetize on it.
Absolutely. And it's about that intention and that commitment, like you said, like Jeff Bezos, all these people who we know who are millionaires and assets, so they can cash however they have it.
Right.
We all have that potential.
Yep.
But I like what you said about we second guess ourselves. Something that came to me today, and I said, you know what? Second guessing does not live in me. It does not live in me. And that does not mean that sometimes they don't try to rent places.
She's talking that talk. Stuff.
Talking that talk. She got to be jammed.
Listen, sometimes fear rents. Sometimes they rent. They don't own, but they rent. So you're getting evicted today.
Yeah.
But just with the liberation of entrepreneurship, I'll be very honest and transparent. It is not easy, and many times, I feel like just not doing it.
Yeah.
And which I can say, like, oh my gosh, I'm always on top of everything. I just always like, absolutely not. Even seasons, even this particular season, just being very transparent. This particular season I'm in, right? In 2021, I signed up for a program. Y'all, I did not have the money for this program at all. Period. Plus, the same month I signed up for the program, my living expenses increased. I said, oh, child, this is interesting. And I had COVID at the time. It was a lot going on.
Man.
Wow.
It was a lot going on.
Oh,
September
man.
2021. Okay. But I was reading a book called We Should Not Be Millionaires. And the writer, Rachel Rogers, I was at the point of the book where she had applied for a program that she could not afford, but she knew she needed it. And at that particular time, my mentor had come to me with a program that I knew I needed. And I had just left a free business program because it wasn't serving me and I wasn't serving it. I wasn't doing the homework. I wasn't being an accountable student.
Yeah.
I was like, if I'm not going to fully engage myself, I need to leave. So I told them, I'm sorry, it's not working for me. And I left. Long story short, I applied for the program. And with this program, it's only $100 to commit. Okay, I got $100. Okay, I can do that. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to create this income. I don't know how this income is going to come because not only do I need the income to pay the tuition for this program, now I also need, I'm creating a bill, tuition on top of other bills I have and expenses and things like that. So long story short, I create more revenue for myself. Honestly, that's the only way I can say it, creating more products and services. Join the program and I'm beasting it. I do not have time to slack at all. And my cohorts or my colleagues in the cohort, they became clients. My coach became a client. He actually hired me for his next cohort of that same program.
Wow.
If I would have said, Kalina, you can't do this. And this is, entrepreneurship to me is a vehicle. And we're all entrepreneurs in our own way. We may not have to steward our own time and resources and money, so what? Just on our own, we may have like a different type of boss, a different type of work, but we all get to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is the line of work I'm going to do. This is how the hours I'm going to do. This is the pay I'm willing to put in. This is how I want to serve. This is my vision. This is how my vision is going to be fulfilled through this work. I just decided to do that through the company I created, Creative Scribes. But in doing that program with intuition, I said, wow, if I would have told myself no, if I would have leaned more into that fear in lieu of that faith.
Yep. What will you be right now? You won't even want to know. I'll be back in Atlanta.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
I
wow.
think that's lesson.
Wow.
That's lesson for everybody.
Right.
That's lesson for everybody.
Wow. Kalina, it's a
Lean into that faith. You said lean into that faith.
yeah.
Lean into the faith because it's like with entrepreneurship, it's not easy. And many times I want to give up. Even this season, I'm like, I'm at a point in my business right now where I need to pivot.
Yeah.
And I am not pivoting because I'm being stubborn.
Yeah.
And until I get out of my own way, which I am plowing out of my own way right now as we speak, I'm not going to reach that level. And honestly, this book really should call, I don't even like the word possibilities anymore, honestly. Possibilities, it's like probabilities.
Yeah.
I like actualities.
Yeah.
Yo.
That's to affirming your best life actually.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's just so much that I love about this interview so far and this conversation with you. Even just them words. Words are just so important.
right.
How like the words that going back to it's like scriptures, like what's the phrase, the power of life and death is in the tongue. And the words that you use, that we don't often realize how much power that it has. Thoughts that we think. And so we thank you for being on the show.
We do.
I also appreciate you being transparent about your journey because, like you said, entrepreneurship also isn't easy, and people don't always talk about the other side of it, or people aren't always transparent about their journeys.
Right.
And
vulnerable.
Can I share one story? Because this is recent.
No, of course you can.
Yeah.
What was this? Okay, let me think. This is November 2022, so this had to be July 2022. So, I mean, it was August. So it was August, right? Again, a lot going on, and I knew something was about to happen. I was like, I don't know what's going to happen, but something is going to happen. Long story short, I found that I have to move in like less than a month. All right, but again, to give the gap, at the same time when I get the call, I have to move. I asked, well, is there another place that you have possibly? And the landlord's like, we have another place that you can move to. Cool. So in 20 minutes, if I don't have to move, I find out I have somewhere to go. Perfect. Right? No problem. God tells me to apply for a grant. One of my really good friends, he sends me a grant to like, Kalina, just apply for this. Now, again, for it or not, he's not going to hound me down, but I'm like, I do want to commit to myself, Again, expenses are going up again in this new place, but it's not even about the expenses. It's more so about my commitment level. And I knew I needed to move. So I applied for the grant. The grant is $10,000. And there are only 4 winners in 4 different cities. So it's Philadelphia, Chicago, Macon, and the Twin Cities, St. Paul, and I can't think about the Twin City.
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Okay, there we go. I haven't been to the Midwest yet, so I'm getting out there. But so it's on.
I didn't know what if it's is St. Paul's. So St. Paul's in Minnesota is the other city in Minneapolis. No, well, Minneapolis is in Minnesota.
Right.
I didn't know. That's what came to my head.
I think,
I don't want to mislead the audience.
No,
You might want to go check your local map.
I have to do your fact check here.
zone.
Right. It ain't the same zone. This is our space.
So $10,000, one $10,000 prize, right? Cool. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to believe that it's mine. I'm going to share my story. I answer the questions. I do this to my clients all the time. Surely I can do it for myself. Cool. So I get an email maybe a month later in September, and they're like, Kalina, congratulations. Your story was so impactful. We want to award you a $2,000 scholarship. Grant. Here is the message for me behind it. My intention was for $10,000. They had never made any mention of any second place, third place, none of that. All they said was we have 4 grants of $10,000 each per city.
Yeah.
So I didn't know about a $2,000 anything, a second place or third or whatever place, anything. Right? But because I at least and that was even scary for me to conceive that I could win $10,000. Right? I was like, really? Would they give that to me? Or I don't know,
Yeah.
But I said yes, they would and they could. And I'm worthy of this. And this is what I would do with this capital, right? So the message and the lesson in that is go for the big pie.
Yeah.
Because you just might get a slice. You might not get the whole pie, but you just might get a slice.
Yeah.
It's just as good.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just as easy or hard to go for the big pie as it is to go for the small pie. It's just no matter which pie you decide to go for.
Big thinking.
Yep. Yeah. Wow. It's just like I said, it's just been so great, Kalina, to have you on our talk show, and I'm sure like our viewers you really are an inspirational. You are, and everything that you do, like not only like you've been an entrepreneur, but like you've been this risk taker, like, and you just also like so reflective about also like how you kind of navigate this sort of like world, but it's also like sometimes like it's also like it's like this wind, right? Sometimes it's getting ready to knock you down. But I love how you continue to figure out how to get knocked down and come right back, right? Ooh. And it's just process. It's this ongoing process. I just think like I'm just been very inspired to hear your journey, but I also love your confidence, like the way you just like see everything, how you do your work, but I love what you do for the young people too. So it's great. I'm gonna stop right there. So before I start crying. But wow,
Well, we got
Yeah, a few
few more
minutes left.
yeah, a few more questions for
Yeah.
you. This is something that we like to do
Mhm.
in our show. We're gonna you might have noticed these maps or these flags.
Flag. Bring in the flags.
So
Yeah.
we got these flags different
Yeah.
in countries here.
Don't forget the Guinea flag. Ring it.
Okay, that will help me out. Put it right there.
Anyway, we got Ghana flag. We got Niger flag. Yeah.
Now,
hmm
have you ever had jollof rice?
I have. Oh my God, it was so long ago. Oh, it was so long ago.
Yeah. It's been a minute. Okay.
All right. Well, we've got different countries here. So we've got Nigeria,
Yeah.
right? We've got Ghana, we've got Senegal,
Yeah. We got Senegal. Yeah.
the Gambia,
Gambia. Okay.
Yeah. We got Liberia.
Liberia,
It's Liberia, 1 star.
Ghana,
Mm-hmm.
and what we want to ask you which country makes the best jollof rice. This is an ongoing conversation.
Don't forget the bell. Ring in the bell. She got to ring the bell.
She
She
got
got a bell here too. All right.
I don't even know what country I had jollof rice from.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wait. So the countries are Senegal, Nigeria, Ghana, Gambia,
Guinea,
Guinea,
Liberia,
Liberia,
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Nigeria. You know
Nigeria.
what? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite musician is Fela Kuti.
Oh.
So, ever had Nigerian jollof rice, but I'm very biased because I love Fela Kuti. So, I'm gonna go with Nigeria.
All right.
We're gonna go ahead and need you to raise that flag.
We need to raise that Niger flag and wave it with a pride.
That flag right here.
All right.
Flag right here.
Yep, this one. Hey, raise it. Hey.
I love it. I love it.
All right.
Yes.
So today,
W for today.
Nigerian once again has prevailed
Once again,
when it comes to jollof. Yeah.
people say all the time.
Again, we keep tally. Yeah.
Keeping a tally,
It's an ongoing thing. We'll let you guys know. We wait until the end of the year.
For sure.
The result will come.
For sure.
Which country again was nominated the most with the best jollof rice? You know, we're not biased. We're just going by data. Well, so far Nigeria is not doing so bad though.
Yeah,
Right?
we're doing all right. We're doing all right.
So you're Nigerian.
Yeah, well, I happen to be Nigerian.
Yeah.
I'm trying to stay objective here. You
Yeah.
know?
He put the guinea flag right here.
Well, I also notice how I keep putting the Nigerian flag closer to me. You know, I want to make it so easier. But
Now, I listen to Fela Kuti when I'm working, and he has like these 20-minute ballads, and I'm like, okay.
but any last word that you want to say before we just close this out? Any shout out that you want to give?
Shout out. I always love shout outs. Well, first, thank you all. Thank you for having this platform because I'm very passionate about the African diaspora.
Yes.
You know, being African American is sometimes challenging to unite Africans who have a more recent bloodline with Africa than, you know, those of us who were stolen hundreds of years ago. And so I'm just very happy to be here, you know, representing the African diaspora and all the great things we're doing.
Awesome.
You know, love that melody.
God, we're honored to have you.
Yeah,
It's been fun.
pleasure.
It's been really, really fun. And
But the last thing I do want to tell the audience is that you are necessary. Whatever you want to do, it doesn't have to be entrepreneurship, whatever it is, you know, you are necessary and you deserve to live your best life actually. You know, if you weren't necessary, the Most High Creator would not have found it necessary to create you. But the Most High Creator did.
Right. Absolutely.
So
And,
that's
like I said, it's I hope that our viewer enjoy this podcast talking to you as much as we did. So if they would love to get in contact with you or learn more about you or, you know, get some help with, you know, becoming a better writer, or even so they want to really convey, they write a book or they have some sort of communication that they want to, whether it's writing, resume, becoming better at writing email, where can they find you?
Oh, let me say this right now. My clients whose resumes are complete, they're making 6 and 7 figures. Well, not 7 yet, but
Okay.
6 figures.
Okay.
Give a shout out. One of my clients, they shall remain anonymous. He texted me like, "Oh, I have a 100K offer."
Wow.
No offers. I was like,
Oh.
and that's another thing too. When I was applying for jobs using my own resume that I created, I could not get hired. Well, not the jobs that I wanted, but when I create one for my clients, they can hire left and right. But nonetheless, okay. You can reach me on Instagram, on all socials at Creative Scribes. That's with a K, creative, but with a K, and then Scribes. And then I'll leave some information for you to type on here. My email, contact at KalinaHarrison.com.
You spell that out for them.
Yeah.
So that, you know.
Contact at Kalina, Kalina, Harrison, HARRISON.com. Contact at KalinaHarrison.com.
This has been another episode of the Pepper Soup Talk Show.
Yeah.
We're highlighting excellence in the African diaspora
Yes.
each and every week. So continue to tune in. We have with us the prolific writer, Kalina Harrison.
Yeah.
And Kalina, we're excited to continue to watch your journey unfold.
Thank you. I'm grateful to be here. And you all continue to do excellence as well.
Thank you. And also, like, keep us posted. We can't wait for your second book.
Yeah, I'll be here to promote
Yes.
my world tour. My world tour.